Whoa. I'm running short of words right now, but I cannot afford this because I have to speak. Thank you so much for all the love, for all the warmth. Thank you for accepting me. Thank you very much. Well, I always start my talk with a disclaimer. And that disclaimer is that I've never claimed to be a motivational speaker. Yes, I do speak, but I feel more like a storyteller because wherever I go, I share a story with everyone. Problems are not too big. We are too small because we cannot handle them. I believe in the power of words. Many people speak before they think. But I know the value of words. The words can make you, break you, they can heal your soul, they can damage you forever. So I always try to use the positive words in my life wherever I go. They call it adversity, I call it opportunity. They call it weakness, I call it strength. They call me disabled, I call myself differently abled. They see my disability. They see my disability, I see my ability. There are some incidents that happen in your life, and those incidents are so strong that they change your DNA. Those incidents or accidents are so strong that they break you physically. They deform your body, but they transform your soul. Those incidents break you, deform you, but they mold you into the best version of you. And the same thing happened to me. And I'm going to share what exactly happened to me. I was 18 years old when I got married. I belonged to a very conservative family, a Baloch family, where good daughters never say no to their parents. My father wanted me to get married. And all I said was, if that makes you happy, I'll say yes. And of course, it was never a happy marriage. Just about after 2 years of getting married, about 9 years ago, I met a car accident. Somehow my husband fell asleep and the car fell in the ditch. He managed to jump out, saved himself. I'm happy for him. But I stayed inside the car and I sustained a lot of injuries. The list is a bit long. Don't get scared. I'm perfectly fine now. Radius ulna of my right arm were fractured. The wrist was fractured. Shoulder bone and collarbone were fractured. My whole rib cage got fractured. And because of the rib cage injury, lungs and liver were badly injured. I couldn't breathe. I lost urinary bowel control. That's why I have to wear the bag wherever I go. But that injury that changed me and my life completely. 3 vertebrae of my backbone were completely crushed, and I got paralyzed for the rest of my life. So this accident took place in a far-flung area in the outskirts of a very small province, Balochistan, where there was no first aid, no hospital, no ambulance. Many people came to rescue. They gave me CPR. They dragged me out of the car. There was this 4-wheeler Jeep standing in the corner of the street. They said, put her in the back of the Jeep and take her to the hospital, which is 3 hours away from this place. And they rushed me to the hospital. That is where I realized that my half body was fractured and half was paralyzed. I underwent multiple surgeries. Doctors have put a lot of titanium in my arm. There's a lot of titanium at my back to fix my back. That's why people in Pakistan call me the Iron Lady of Pakistan. Those 2.5 months in the hospital were dreadful. I will not make up stories just to inspire you. I was at the verge of despair One day, doctor came to me and he said, well, I heard that you wanted to be an artist, but you ended up being a housewife. I have a bad news for you. You won't be able to paint again because your wrist and your arm are so deformed, you won't be able to hold a pen again. Next day, doctor came to me and said, your spine injury is so bad, you won't be able to walk again. I took a deep breath and I said, it's all right. Because of your spine injury and the fixation that you have in your back, you won't be able to give birth to a child again. And that is where I started to question my existence. Why am I even alive? What's the point of living? I cannot walk, I cannot paint, fine. I cannot be a mother. And we have this thing in our heads, being women, that we are incomplete without having children. I am going to be an incomplete woman for the rest of my life. My mother said to me, this too shall pass. God has a greater plan for you. I don't know what it is, but He surely has. One day I asked my brothers, I know I have a deformed hand, but I'm tired of looking at these white walls in the hospital and wearing these white scrubs. If I want to do something, bring me some colors, bring me some small canvas. I want to paint. So the very first painting I made was on my deathbed. It was not just an art piece or just my passion. It was my therapy. So that's how I spent 2.5 months in my hospital, crying, never complaining or whining, but painting. And then I was discharged, and I went back home. I was unable to sit. There were a lot of infections in my body, a lot of allergies. So doctors wanted me to lie down on the bed straight for not 6 months, for not 1 year, for 2 years. I was bedridden. There are always turning points in your life. There was a rebirth day that I celebrated. After 2 years and 2.5 months, when I was able to sit on a wheelchair, that was the day when I had the rebirth. And that day I decided that I'm going to live life for myself. I am not going to be that perfect person for someone. I am just going to take this moment and I will make it perfect for myself. That day I decided that I'm going to fight my fears. We all have fears. Fear of unknown, fear of known, fear of losing people, fear of losing health, money. We want to excel in career, we want to become famous, we want to get money. We are scared all the time. So I wrote down one by one all those fears, and I decided that I'm going to overcome these fears one at a time. You know what was my biggest fear? Divorce. I liberated myself by setting him free. And I made myself emotionally so strong that the day I got the news that he's getting married, I sent him a text that I'm so happy for you and I wish you all the best. And he knows that I pray for him today. My biggest fear, number 2, was I won't be able to be a mother again. And that was quite devastating for me. So there is no point of crying, just go and adopt one. And that's what I did. I gave my name in different organizations, different orphanages. 2 years later, I got this call from a very small city in Pakistan. There is a baby boy, and would you like to adopt? And when I reached there, the man was sitting and he was looking at me from head to toe. And I kept thinking that, oh my God, he is going to say she's on the wheelchair, she doesn't deserve it. He said, I know you will be the best mother of this child. You both are lucky to have each other. You'll be surprised to know another bigger fear that I had in me. It was facing people. I started to appear more in public. I started to paint. I have done a lot of modeling campaigns. different campaigns for brands like Tony and Guy. I decided that I'm going to join the national TV of Pakistan as an anchor person, and I've been doing a lot of shows for the last 3 years. So when you accept yourself the way you are, the world recognizes you. It all starts from within. Thank you. I became the National Goodwill Ambassador for UN Women Pakistan, and now I speak for the rights of women, children. I was featured in BBC 100 Women for 2015. I'm one of the Forbes 30 under 30 for 2016. Many people know about the terrorist attacks in Pakistan. We have lost many people. They have killed people in mosques, they have killed people in churches, temples, even in schools. There was this terrorist attack in Army Public School, Peshawar, where these terrorists entered in an examination hall and they killed our children. And in that attack, that day, this beautiful boy, Waleed Khan, who was my hero, my real life hero, was the proctor who was taking care of the students, was keeping an eye on the students. Those barbarians shot him 3 times in the face, 5 times on his body, and he fell down. I was asked to give a talk in the school after a week of that terrorist attack. I could see children injured. I could see children sitting on the wheelchair. So this kid, Waleed Khan, I was asked that he is in a hospital right now, and you have to go and see him and motivate him and tell him that it's going to be okay. And when I saw Waleed Khan coming on the wheelchair for the first time in front of me, his face was all deformed. His leg was fractured, his arm was fractured. He couldn't talk, he lost his teeth. He cannot sneeze, he cannot smell. He cannot eat. Say, this beautiful child, Waleed Khan, came to me and he said, "Are you Muniba Mazari?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Baji, let's take a selfie." That when I was thinking too much about his deformities, he's happy with himself. He doesn't even care. Because today he goes in the same school, and when somebody asks him that what happened to your face, why so many scars, you know what he says? "These scars are my medals and I wear them with pride." Life is a trial, and with time you realize that. It is okay to be scared. It is okay to cry. Everything is okay, but giving up should not be an option. They always say that failure is not an option. Failure should be an option, because when you fail, you get up, and then you fail, and then you get up, and that keeps you going. That's how humans are strong. We want everything perfect. Perfect life, perfect relationships, perfect career, perfect amount of money that we need to earn no matter what. Nothing is perfect in this world. Some people ask me, "Don't you get tired of smiling all the time? What's the secret?" I always say one thing, that I have stopped worrying about the things that I have lost, the people that I have lost. Things and people who were meant to be with me are with me. And sometimes, somebody's absence makes you a better person. Cherish their absence. It's always a blessing in disguise.